think there's some good stuff to look at within that. I think one of the things that jumps out at you is that we do really well against other schools, not just private colleges. We do really well against the benchmark institutions that are used within this community college survey. I think one of the things that really jumps out if you look at these different results is the fact that our students are very confident. And a lot of times I think, we may take that for granted. People from the outside, they view, okay, how are Indian students, how are Navajo students? But if you look at this, if you ask the students, are you able to create a future for you at this college? They're saying yes. Are they able to learn the material? They're saying yes. That is really important as we then try to increase and improve the academic rigor. If students are behind that, they're saying, well, I don't know if I can do the work, they're not feeling confident. That has an impact on the types of programs that we can develop and what we can pull forward. So I think that's the one thing I wanted to highlight. It's very, I think it's a great point to make. The other, though, is about the preparedness of our students. So on the one hand, our students are saying, we're confident we can succeed. But on the other hand, the area where we have a hard time is that we have a high number of students that do not come to class prepared. A very high number. If you look at that if you look on page 5, you see aspects of lowest student engagement. We have roughly 74.5% of our students that will come in and say, we haven't done the assignments, we haven't done the reading. So that's a huge behind the 8-ball move that we have, and we have to overcome that. On the plus side, if you look a couple columns over, about a little over 50% of our faculty and our advisors are in constant conversation with the students. So that gives you a place where we can then build off of that. And I think that's really important as we move forward. That there are some items there that we can actually look to move forward. The other that's really important that I think it reflects how students feel about their institution. You're looking at roughly 86% of the students feel that they are respected and welcomed at our school. Now let me kind of back up a little bit. This survey was done randomly, not by us. It was done by the CCSSE, all right? And there were, from tribal colleges, about 1,500 results. Of that 1,500 results, 560 came from Gwinnett College. So we had a huge response. So these numbers, you can't sit there and say, well, that's just a few. Overall, we're talking about a third of all of our students were surveyed. That's a huge, to me that says two things. One, the students took it seriously. Two, they wanted their voices to be heard. And when they did that, I know we'll always have some complaints, we'll always have, because we have to do better, we have to achieve more. But here's a blind survey that surveyed 1/3 of our entire population of students, and these are the results. And I really think it's important to again highlight that they feel welcome and respected. Now we'll always have a few that won't, and we understand that, and we have to do better to try to bring that number always higher. The second point I think that's really important is this question, this college is preparing me for what I plan to do in life. Okay? If you look at that, that is roughly, I'm trying to do the math real quick, that is roughly, what is it, 83%? So when they're coming to college, if you take this with the other data that you've seen from us, and that is like 96% of our students are coming to school with a degree in mind, they're degree seeking. And you take that data, and you take this, and the fact that they believe that their education here is going to help them in the future, and you intersect those two. They're coming here with purpose, and they're coming here with the belief that this school is going to help them. That is huge. That is, a lot of times we talk about this, and last year and a couple of years ago, we took this survey, I don't know where it to be. But this is where it is now, and the idea, and what we're trying to focus on at Tsaile College is how do we change the climate? How do we change the culture? We can do things in this room as employees, as administration, as students, as Board of Regents. But it's the students who really drive this. And if you take those two data points and you intersect them, you realize that the students are driving us and we're not driving them. So what does that mean? I'm actually going to try to solve this, and I'm going to stop right there because my presentation talks about how we look forward to that. And I'd like to go ahead and go to the next presentation, which is Valvina. Allow her, and then I can try to fix what's happening with this PowerPoint. Because there's two things happening here. Where we are today, and this is a snapshot. But also where we're going to go. We're coming off our 50th. Yeah, we're cheering and clapping with that, but the real purpose of that is to figure out where we're going to go. How do all of these tables, if you will, representing each different department, each different degree program here, how do they all work together? That's the purpose of this meeting from the administration's perspective. This is what we've done, this is what we're planning to do, and this is where you fit in. And presenting that to the board, presenting that to the communities, presenting that to the administration and staff is what we want to focus on right now. So I'd like to turn it over to Valvina right now, who will go through the closeout of last year.
Good morning, everybody. I apologize. I actually am battling a cold right now, so bear with me, and I hope I'm loud enough for everyone to hear me. So this morning, I wanted to be able to share with everybody what a review of our institution looks like regarding our strategic planning, our progress, our goals in every domain, and what everybody has been able to accomplish. As Dr. Russell had alluded earlier, we're just only a few days from closing out our Q4. We have not collected our Q4 annual progress report from all the cost center managers. We are having that in this month's schedule to collect those. So what I will be presenting today is as of Q1, 2, and 3, and the progress that the institution has made in meeting specific projects and initiatives and focus that we had set out for year 1. Those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Valvina Davis. I serve as the Executive Director of Institutional Planning Reporting here at Tsaile College. And I currently reside here in Tsaile, Arizona. Within my department, I oversee the Office of Institutional Planning and Reporting. So one of the initiatives that we oversee, Joy? One of the initiatives that we have been overseeing in the period of year 1 is our strategic planning effort. So we are lucky enough to actually have adopted a strategy and a method put in place by a board of regents to where we're able to start effectively tracking our initiative, across the board. So year 1, we successfully completed our year 1 out of year 5. So give you guys a round of applause for that. This marks our year 1 initiative out of our 5-year effort. So as you guys can see, we adopted a 5-year cycle, which will go all the way into 2022. As of this past October 1st, we now closed and completed our year 1 initiative. Joy? Out of our 5-year strategic goals, our institution has recognized 6 strategic goals and objectives that fall underneath there. Our main focus and priority over the next 5 years fall underneath the following: advancing the institution's identity, promote student success and development, strengthen financial health and self-reliance, promote effective communication and accountability, expand effectiveness and efficiency using technology, and cultivate nation building These are the 6 areas that we as an institution have identified we are going to put focus and initiative into improving. Improvement meaning from year 1, and then identifying by the end of year 5, how far have we grown and advanced as an institution? How much have we actually met those goals? And our responsibility within our department is to ensure that those things are being tracked and collected so that we are able at the end of the 5-year period tell a story. Were we effective? Did we actually grow as an institution? Did we meet our goals that we set up for? A lot of this initiative cannot be done alone. As Dr. Russell has mentioned, it takes a vast amount of people to accomplish a single project. Each of you guys in your domain know this very well, that one single project involves multiple people across the campus to complete. It is very difficult right now to be able to say all credit goes to one department. I cannot say that because in looking at the data, every project that certain departments have been able to complete were only possible because they had aid from other departments. Excuse me. An institutional-wide contribution takes place currently right now among 115 cost centers, meaning that our institution distributes its financial fundings to departments across the institution, and a portion of those fundings are devoted to accomplishing a particular goal to meet our strategic planning efforts. So if you take a look at the information that's provided, you can see that 26% of, now again, this is self-reported, every department is the one that says we are going to commit into completing this particular goal. 26% of the institution has said we are going to focus on building some type of focus, initiative, project on fulfilling student success. So you see that as the huge weight, as a focus for this 5-year period. From there, we have 22% of financial health. That's the second largest area that we as an institution said we're going to provide some type of initiative improvement in. Joy? To ensure that we're constantly tracking and ensuring that every department is playing a role in meeting these goals, we created this system right here. And I'm using academics as an example. So what we did throughout the period, and this is a report that's going to be released at the end of November to where everybody will be able to see which department was able to complete which goal and initiative. It's going to be a very in-depth report that will be released sometime soon, by the end of November. But this is an example that will show just how much it takes to complete a goal. And this is just academic support unit alone, not the schools, but the support units such as dual credit, the provost office. So if you look at this, we're spread across the board. Again, it's difficult to say all credit is due to just one department, one individual. It takes a team, it takes the commitment of the institution to actually carry out these initiatives. So we do this to ensure how much weight does it take to actually carry out these projects. Are we really putting focus in every element that we said we're going to be doing over the next 5 years? One area that we're trying to really improve, and we have made some small strides but still needs a lot of improvement, is the funding component that's linked to our strategic planning. So at the year end of the closing, this is what we have been able to identify. In 2017, prior to the fundings being released, we've asked all departments, what will it take to fulfill your goal? What will it take to promote and advance the identity? What will it take to advance technology on the institution? That information was gathered from every department to say, what is it going to cost to carry out those particular projects? The forecast that was projected was 1.2 million alone just to fulfill the entire strategic goals, all 6, just for year 1, this current year closeout. Now that we completed our year 1 closeout and we did a review, we find that $579,000 have been spent out of that 1.2 million to successfully fulfill those current projects. So right now, that's where we sit. We still need to work. Again, there's always going to be areas of improvement in terms of budget alignment to our goals. We want to know how can we make more efficient budget allocation? How can we make those processes a little bit more effective? What is it? What will it take to actually not only spend the money, but spend it to accomplish our goals? So currently, that's what we look like right now for year one. In looking at the focus for year one, it was very difficult to be able to say academics completed projects X, Y, and Z. Student services completed X, Y, and Z. There's 115 departments across the board that contribute to every strategic goals throughout the campus for year one. But in the end, what we were able to analyze is there was a theme that started being created out of the review. So looking at the theme, one thing that we did note is that there are several projects that have been carried out throughout year one. One, we've increased the number of degree programs and services target to nation building and identity. We were able to accomplish that as an institution by introducing new degree programs to our students. We expanded co-curricular social and recreational activities for students that will target student success. We're able to increase opportunities for students to seek out learning workshops. Student activities started increasing throughout the year. A lot of that was reported by the Student Success Department. Expand technology to improve student learning and service experience. We invested in online enrollment and IT services as well. And I actually would like to not reiterate that too much because Vice President Bo Lewis will be able to give an in-depth report in her area. We're able to streamline institutional transformation by providing a healthy and safety learning environment. We expand and focusing on our campus safety initiatives, building awareness programs, training, and advancing in our tools and infrastructures on campus. We expanded in financial help by providing effective strategies of reviewing institutional costs and securing additional college revenue. We completed this by seeking additional revenue outside the institution. Most of them were from grants that were approved and awarded to the institution. So as the year one initiative, the theme flows that it took an institution, everybody as a whole, to be able to contribute to each one of these. Though each of our departments do oversee specifically financial areas, student success, but in order to accomplish those projects and initiatives, it took the entire institution to put their hands and effort together on getting that done. Looking at our quarter initiatives, we operate on a quarterly basis. So right now, what you guys are looking at is our quarterly calendar. Currently, we are concluded with our year one initiative. So we're still in the progress, again, of completing our quarter four. Joy? Our performance outcome. So if we were to look at our measurements of how well did we do as an institution, from the matrix and the measurements of the weight that every department has set to say, this is how we're gonna prove we completed these projects. If you take a look at this, you'll be able to see that as of today, 30% of the 115 units throughout the institution are 100% complete with what they had set out to say they're gonna do within year one in accomplishing a goal and objective to meet either Diné identity, advancing technology, improving institutional transformation, all of those listed institutional goals that I had mentioned before. 41% are still in progress, and those will be reported at the end of this month. Moving forward, there's still progress that needs to be made. Granted, we're just completing our year one. There's a lot of changes that possibly still needs to happen in terms of how the structure is done with our strategic planning. We still really need to focus on aligning our budget allocation and really pushing on ensuring that we're constantly mindful that we are here for a reason. Of course, we're here for our students, but our students are also here aligned with what we have laid out, which is our foundation, our mission, our vision, and our values. Those align with our strategic goals and what we are saying as an institution as we claim that we are here to provide these services. In our financial year 1, we hope to provide an upcoming annual performance report. You guys will be able to see an in-depth detailed report analysis of each of one of your departments and how you guys were able to perform and produce in meeting your strategic goals. We do have a public website that we now have up and running on the Warrior webpage. If all of you guys are curious and we want to make sure that we're being transparent, we have it out there publicly for people to be able to see and monitor the tracking of their strategic goals. Currently, right now, that is where we are on our strategic initiatives. We hope to continue providing improvements in these areas and working alongside everybody. But in the end, I wanted to thank everybody for all of your efforts. It's not bad, in my opinion, for year 1. It's just the beginning, and there's always room for improvement. And let's continue working together because it does take an institution to meet our goals. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to have Bo Lewis come up here and do the financial report. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for our annual meeting. Thank you for taking the time to be here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Bo Lewis. I'm the Vice President of Finance and Administration. I'm from a place called Kahayote, which is near Delcon. Anyway, thank you. Our financial review, you can go to the next slide. I'm going to go over the audited financial report, also 18-19 fiscal year overview and the approved budget, also 17-18 accomplishment highlights, and the highlights and the goals for 18-19 that we're looking forward to. Okay, for the audited financials for 16-17, that was just completed in July or in June, and it was audited by the KPMG out of Albuquerque. We have 2 audits that we do each year. We do the regular audit, and then we also do the single audit. We have to do the single audit because we fall under the tribe as an entity, so we do fall under them, so we have to do a single audit under their programs too as well, and because of the federal fundings also that we receive. And this year we got an unqualified or a clean audit again this year, and what that means is that we're free of any misrepresentation on our financial, and also we're following the U.S. accepted accounting principles too as well. And then we had no findings for 16 and 17, as in prior year we had 7 findings, as President Bigman had mentioned earlier. And I wanted to go over what that means. No finding for the college, what does that mean? And that means that the audit helps the college achieve its goal and objective by measuring all the overall performance and productivity. And also it protects the college from financial misstatement and presents a reliable, healthy picture of the college to our stakeholders and the market. And it means internal controls that we have in place prevent and detect accounting misrepresentation or irregularities. And then also, it also means that it strengthens our financial integrity of the college by reducing risk and also of the cost of capital. Should we want to borrow money or get that kind of money, then we have a good credit rating. So that's what no findings means for the college. So it has been a good audit for 16-17, and we hope to do that in 18-19 again as well. And next picture, I just wanted to go over highlights of 16-17, the audited financial. And here we have the statement of revenue, expenses, and the change in net asset. For 17, I just wanted to explain that for most colleges, not tribal colleges, we are dependent mainly on outside sources to fund us in order to have our college operate. So there is a difference between operating and non-operating revenue, and that's why they make that distinction. For operating, it's money we get from people that pay tuition, the revenues we get from the dorms, our employee rents, stuff like that, and also investment revenue that we make. That's where we earn the money. And then where the non-operating is that money we get like from the federal government and also from the Navajo Nation or the state. So those are the distinction that we make on our financial statement. So our operating revenue is 6.2 million, and then our operating expense is 34.3 or 30.4 million. And if you subtract the two, we have a negative amount of 28. So if we were just operating on our operating revenue, then we would be in the hole. But because we get other money from non-operating, which is from the federal government and the tribe and the state, we get 26.1 million. So that even with that, it puts us in the hole at 2 million. But then we get other appropriation from the federal government too. So with that appropriation, it's 2 million, which puts us at a positive amount of 491,000. And then that's added from last year's amount of 81.2 million. The 4191 is added to that amount, and then it brings us to a net positive position at 81.7 million. So it's working that way, and we're in a good position based on that. And for fiscal year 18-19, our financial year just ended, so for 17-18, we're going to close it out, just closed out last week. So we're going to start closing out the year, and then once we close out the year, then we start working on the audit. And then for our general budget for 18-19, that was approved by the board last week or 2 weeks ago, and our budget currently is at 22.8 million. And we had an increase of 761,000, and that was due to an increase of 500,000 from the Navajo Nation, and then also a reasonable projection of increase in enrollment for this year, coming this year. And I think that projection was right because our enrollment did go up this year, so I think we're right on cue with that projection. And then the budget allocations for 18-19 budget, 33% of it went to academics, and 6% to public relations, and the president's office 5%, and student affairs 7%, and then finance and administration 49%. And the reason why the finance has a huge amount more than the others is because we pick up the fixed costs, and we have like 5 different departments, and we pick up most of the capital costs too as well, so that's why we have a bigger budget to support everybody else. And this one is just an expanded amount, expanded look at the budget. Our general fund budget is at 22.8. And then we have other fundings from the tribe and from the federal government of 19.6 million. So overall, our budget is 42.4 million for the whole year, upcoming year. Okay, I just wanted to give you also some highlights for 17-18 for our department. I want to say our department, but as Velvina said, it usually doesn't just involve our department, it involves everybody else. So as a department plus other departments, then we all get these accomplishments together. First, we want to mention that we changed the food service provider. Our new food service provider is NMS, and so far I think the reviews are very well received on the kind of service that they're providing. We're very happy with them. And then we also changed the budget process. We added a new budget module, and right now it's fully implemented. And then we're going to start training people on how to use it. There's a minor change in how we process most of our budget process, so that's coming up too. But we're actually using it right now. And then into the city, we also improved the internet capacity by adding direct connection with NTUA. And when we did that, that provides better service to the city, and also it releases some of the bandwidth over in our department, but in Tsaile too as well. So both areas should have improved a lot since we added that. And also we did the DC website was redesigned, and hopefully its navigation is a lot better, and it just looks prettier too as well. And then the online admission and registration that was implemented to this year, and hopefully we hope to expand that a little bit more where people can really register online. And then we also implemented a mass text notification and broadcast into our system, which is used to do mass alert for everybody. Like if there's bad weather and people can't come in for some reason, we have the ability to send out a mass text to our students and employees too. And we also implemented, or we installed some emergency blue lights for Tsaile. And then we also did the Tsaile online bookstore and also the online merchant portal. And then we also updated the IT policy procedure. And we upgraded the call manager and also replaced all the phones across the campuses too as well. And we also did the RDW recommendation. We did the salary studies too as well. And some of the recommendations will go into effect 2019 or 18-19. And some of the highlights for our goals for the upcoming year will include wireless upgrade for 100 access point, and IT infrastructure will be upgraded, which will replace some of the outdated technologies and servers, servers on network and stuff. And then we're also working with MirrorNet, which is a philanthropic organization that want to work with us to try to expand the wireless access for future students in their use of taking online courses. So we're trying to look into the future to work with other organizations such as NTUA, Cell One, to try to use their system to expand the Wi-Fi network a little bit more. And one of the pilots that we're using right now is to have wireless for faculty and staff housing. We're going to add 43 access points for that. And then we are also expanding some applications for students, faculty, and staff. And one of them is our campus card. These IDs that we have are going to have multiple purposes. We're going to put them on our cell phone, where students can use that as an ID instead of this. If they forget their ID, they can have it on their cell phone. They can use that for access for security entrances, meal plan, printing, to use it at maybe the bookstore, the cafeteria, and a future coffee shop, library, laundry, vending machine. It's going to have multiple use, and that's what's coming up next year. Hopefully we'll implement that. And then at Astra, class and faculty scheduling too, that we're planning to do that. And then document management, we're trying to get the campus to go paperless. And then also we're going to install some emergency blue lights too at the Shiprock campus. And then we're going to complete the security building, which is west of the circle too as well. Those are just some highlights right now. There's many more that we're going to work on. Also, we're working with the board to try to implement or start a foundation too this year. And that would hopefully bring in more revenue so that we can do more for our infrastructure and also for scholarships for students, which will be like an extension of the college to do fundraising for us. Okay, thank you. And I want to thank everybody this year for all the things that we accomplished. And we said before, we can't do this just one department. I know it took a lot to accomplish some of the things that we accomplished. And I want to thank all my staff and all the other employees that work with us to get our goals accomplished. Thank you. With that, I'll introduce Annabelle Khan, who's going to give us an update on the HLC upcoming visit. Annabelle? No, Annabelle? Sorry.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Annabelle Khan. I am the Director of Assessment and Curriculum. I was also a co-chair for the Higher Learning Commission visit, as well as...
I'm Robert Barraclough, sidekick.
Today I will be providing an update on the progress of the Higher Learning Commission visit, and it included several steps. Before I begin, I would like to say thank you. So Akiahat and Tsaile to the Higher Learning Commission Steering Committee, which included cross-divisional lines, employees from faculty, staff, and we even had an HLC intern, LaTanya Finn, as well as Sean Begay, who is preparing now for the upcoming visit in a few weeks. I would also like to thank Dr. Russell as well as Dr. Garrity for your continued support with the Higher Learning Commission and ensuring that the writers had all that they needed to complete the very lengthy process, and the entire college at large for your contribution in this huge project. So the focus of the accreditation is to really keen in on 4 very simple aspects of Diné College. Are we indeed meeting our mission, first of all, and are we providing access to a quality education? So how do we compete against our other institutions such as the mainstream institution, ASU, U of A, NAU, and other community colleges? Is our classes indeed rigorous? The quality of our program, is it compatible so that you can go out there into the real world and get some sort of employment? It's also looking at the overall aspect of the college. There's always room for improvement, and what we have written in the assurance argument will allow the reviewers to see where our holes and our gaps are and how we can make improvements to continue meeting our mission of the college. And it's also to provide an argument. It needs to have substance to the argument. So the reminder, very simple, why HLC is important to us. It's something that a college cannot move away from. The Diné College, formerly known as Navajo Community College, has been accredited through the Higher Learning Commission since 1976. And the importance of that recognition is many of our students here receive Title IV funding, federal Pell Grant, federal work study. And we're also eligible for the Title III funding, which funds our Student Services Center, as well as the Title III Part F, which is set aside for construction. So because we have that recognition from the Higher Learning Commission, it enables us to get federal funding. Without that recognition of the Higher Learning Commission, it really puts a college at a standstill. So it's very important. So following the HLC process, as well as really aligning it with the guiding principles of Diné College, we went about it in that process. So as you can see here, we followed it with the mindset of Nantucke's thinking. We openly engaged as well with the steering committee, administration, faculty, staff, and students. How can we begin this process? We wanted to include all key constituents individuals. We also included the Board of Regents. It is important to include everyone in this process because the heart and center of an institution is the students. We then followed into the next steps. Now we begin gathering the evidence. What now? We start examining every piece of evidence and relate it to the relevance of the HLC criteria. How can we embed that so that we are creating some sort of argument that is proving we are providing that quality of education? We then moved into the planning phases of it, Nahatsa, which we prioritized and we created a plan. We created a plan so that we can thoroughly submit an argument as well as prepare for the visit, involving as many individuals as we can. In the spring semester, we had several information sessions. We also went to the different centers to present on the importance of HLC. What is HLC? What does it mean to you as a student, as a faculty, as a staff, as an administrator, even the Board of Regents? And then we moved into the phase of INA, living. So we implemented and achieved certain goals from the last time HLC had a visit here, which was in 2015. So over the course of 3 years and doing a side-by-side comparison from 2015 to what is currently submitted, we have made tremendous changes within the college. As stated before, we only had 2 bachelor's programs. We have then moved on to 9, and there are still plans by the faculty to have more bachelor's program in the future, as well as moving towards providing that master's degree. So then we start planning. Yes, we've submitted the document, but what do we do now? We then moved into the reflection, Sihasin. So then we assess and we review as a college at large. What can we fix? What type of implemented improvements can happen so that our students can benefit the most from this college? So the next steps included our submission. We hit the submit button and we locked it Monday, September 24th. And now what we're doing is we're in the phase of internal preparations. The internal preparations include waiting for the reviewers to come and also receiving those emails where they're asking for more types of evidence. And if you get an email asking for your syllabus, for some sort of policy that was then submitted as a draft, maybe it's finalized now, bring it forward. And then we have our site visit. We have 2 of them. One will take place at the Shiprock campus on October 19th, 2018, from 1 to roughly 4 p.m. They will then move to the main campus here. They will come visit October 22nd and 23rd. And the agenda for both of those have already been distributed on a weekly basis. And what follows after the HLC visit is in November, they will have a written report based on their visit, as well as the different components of the narratives that were submitted on ways that the college has showcased our college, as well as where we could have some sort of improvement. So we also followed it in this cornstalk sort of aspect. We crafted a assurance argument, multi-campus Shiprock narrative, as well as the federal compliance. So we planted that seed back in June. From that seed, we then drafted the argument and we shared it during the convocation in August. From the convocation, it included several types of revisions that were recommended by the college community as well as other individuals who have the time to read that over 100-page document. We then worked as the writers as well as our editor on making and implementing those changes. We then moved forward into the submission, which happened 2 weeks ago. Now we're in the phase of preparing for the visit. After that's done, we will then have a visit from them, and it will follow the same process as explained before. They'll provide a written report. So who else is involved? Is the question that always comes to me is I'm not involved. However, if you think about it, all of us are involved. What's our purpose for being here? What's your purpose for being here as a student? Why did you choose to come here? If you think about it, the Higher Learning Commission is the overarching umbrella that will show that when you walk across that stage and you do receive that degree, you have proven that you received that degree from a college that is recognized by the Higher Learning Commission, which is a very rigorous process. So just a heads up, if you wanted to read the assurance argument, it is available on Warrior Web. And how you find it is here at the link, or you can navigate to it using the Faculty and Staff Higher Learning Commission Committee. And it's there off to the right-hand side. There are 3 components to it. There's the federal compliance, there's the multi-campus ship-rock narrative, as well as the overall assurance argument. So just to kind of go over it a little bit, I see that there are students here. The assurance argument is the bulk of the HLC visit. It includes 5 criteria. Number 1 is criterion 1, it focuses on the mission. How is Diné College meeting the mission? It also plays into how are the Board of Regents, how are the administration, faculty, staff, everyone plays a role in that. So we have to prove it with certain types of things. Criterion 2 is focusing on the equity of the college, fairness. Anything within that realm, it's focusing on that. It's also focusing on human resources. What types of resources are available to the students, so students with disabilities, anything within that area, just to quickly summarize it here. I only have 5 minutes. Criterion 3 is focusing on the quality of education, our programs that are offered here, our certificates, our bachelors, our associates. How are we meeting the needs of our students? And how are we proving it? Criterion 4 is focusing on the overall assessment of our programs, our courses. Criterion 5 is focusing on the overall institutional effectiveness. So that comes into play with what Vice President Bo Lewis just went over, the finance, strategic planning, which Valvina Davis went over. All of that is tied in, and all of that is relevant to the accreditation and the importance of it, so that we are providing that. And how are we doing it? How are we showing it is always important. So with that said, thank you again. And if you have any questions, I advise you to direct it to Dr. Verica.
See a 2-minute video here, so be patient with us as we transition.
Hi, my name is Aaron Charlie.
My name is Shaylin Vicente. My name is Corey Johnny.
My name is Elliot Begay.
I could have gone to these bigger schools, but I couldn't really have learned anything. I could have easily went there and not be prepared of what to expect from the real world itself. But coming here and experiencing that, it's like, okay, here's a problem, this is how you fix it. Then here's another problem, now how to fix it.
The night college really prepared me with the multiple classes they provide and also the clubs and activities they have around constantly.
The Net College is a place where they can come and start the college level courses.
The reason why Diné College is important is because it teaches a lot of the Diné students a lot of the teachings, traditional teachings that were lost, and the students reflect back on it and they get a little more learning about their roots and where they come from, and it gives them purpose of going on, becoming something better and create better living to give back to their people.
When people invest in that, it shows that people care about the college, they care for the students, not just the students, but the staff, the workers, and the people who use Diné College to help them in their lives.
It would help improve our curriculum and teach the NAVO students, and we get to know a lot where we come from first, and this helps us reach out and to higher our education, and it motivates us a lot too.
Hi, my name is Dr. Charles Monty Russell. I'm the president of Diné College. One of the things that we really focus on here is creating a college-like atmosphere. How do you then try to cultivate a college-going culture when college-going is not something that is obvious in most families? We don't have the same facilities that a place in Phoenix or Denver or Albuquerque has, but we have something that I think is better. So what do we have here? We try to take advantage of our culture. We try to take advantage of the environment that we have when they come to this college. That is something that we can look at to try to provide that opportunity. The two biggest problems and challenges our students face in terms of succeeding in college is transportation and childcare. Those are the areas that our students find themselves in trouble. It's not doing the homework, though that's tough, it's rigorous here, but it's those other areas that are dealing primarily with responsibilities outside of the classroom. So we need to be a college that can address it. That's one of the reasons why we're looking at different ways to find increased funding to build programs that can help our college students succeed.
This video was shared at the Diné College Gala at the Scottsdale's Resort, and we received a lot of good comments about the video. Next, I will introduce Dr. Garrity, who will be telling the story through data.
She'a Jordan Garrity da shi tuna do what he had made in the show for the treat me ava shi shin do the tahi ada shi chin kia ani ada shi male do look at the great a isinasha she the enrollment ava hashnet do. So we, as mentioned prior, they're going in order. Ade enrollment iki ava yash fit do. So for academic domain, we want to increase bachelor degree program enrollment for each school by at least 5%. That's what we're hoping that we can do. And all the deans have been, making sure that that's going to happen. That's going to be our focus this coming year. Go ahead, Joe. So we're going to look at our 10-year trend data on enrollment. So something interesting here, you'll see the how the enrollment fluctuates throughout the year. And this is just based on the 21-day count. So since 2008, 2008 we do have a decrease of 11% in enrollment. So it appears from just looking at the data here that from 2009 to 2013, both fall and spring semester had a large number of enrollment. And so based on the graph, the lowest enrollment was in 2016. So if you look at 2016, which is right around the numbers of, let's see, the third one from the side is 3216. Although from 2016 to 2017, you see an increase again, about 5%. So those are some questions that we have. A Banti case with academic deans, the in the directors, what was the difference? But you have to also consider that this is based on without dual credit. So there is a difference between the two, with dual credit and without dual credit. So I did a comparison chart. I'm clicking on mine thinking that it's going forward. Sorry about that. So go for it. Go one more time. One more time. Okay, right there. So I'm kind of going through really quickly, Joy. I'll go like whatever. So the two comparison between with or without dual credit here, there's a difference. When from 2008 to 2013, you see that there are no difference in dual credit enrollment or the regular enrollment. 2013 or 2018, then you see that enrollment varying. For example, for 2014, we have 454 students that were dual credit students. For 2015 and 2016, then you see a big difference there again. About 1,511 dual credit students were enrolled. So this impacts the enrollment on how it goes throughout the years. Okay. So here, this is digging deeper diving into the enrollment. We're saying that we want to work on that. We're seeing more students coming into the bachelor's degree programs. They're declaring early on. So as we meet on this, we discuss that, which area do we focus on? And the deans have agreed that the bachelor degree programs are one we're going to really focus on in the coming year. And with this, the next slide. So every time we come together, we always consider all areas in terms of what Valvina had shared with you on this end with the strategic goals. We look at that, and then if you see the far left side on there, the top, that's our Navajo Nation goal. And then up here with our ATD goals. So every time we come together, we always make sure that we're looking at all of them. There's an alignment that we do as we plan. Next slide. So just quickly going over what has been done and what is planned for academic domain. What we have done is, we made a projection for each school. So that's the School of STEM, School of Arts, Humanities, and English, School of Business and Social Science, and School of Diné Studies and Education. They all agreed that they're going to increase enrollment by 5%. And we've been analyzing and reviewing the data. And there are areas that we're really looking at, such as the course schedule. We're going back and reinstituting the block schedule. We're trying to make sure that we have the space efficiency and the effectiveness. So we're trying to see exactly what is impacting the different enrollment, the class offering, and all of that. So we're really digging deeper with the course scheduling, and we are now wanting to implement the Ad Astra course scheduling software, and there we're asking all as many faculty as we can to join us as we train for the next few months in terms of implementing this program. And this particular Ad Astra will give us more data, and I think by now the deans and the directors were coming to really loving data, because we're just always breathing data every day. So that more data for us there, and based on that we move on making decisions. So what is planned, our hope is that we create an institutional enrollment plan that will include, of course, the mission for the enrollment plan, and making sure we look at those target areas in enrollment and retention, persistency, and graduation rates. So for those, we're looking at mechanisms in terms of how do we monitor this, how do we measure, how often, but it takes, again, a whole team. And so our team has been looking at some results and wanting to, and now reaching out to marketing, student services, financial aid, professional development for these areas, and collecting data. We're trying to come together to come up with an institutional plan rather than having just one domain having a plan, that we all have a plan that we can share, so we can be consistent and we can make sure that students are getting the same messages and that we are monitoring the enrollment. So that's something we're looking at, and we can really monitor this through quarterly reports. Okay, go ahead. So just two more here. I just wanted to share that, again, our goal is to increase bachelor degree programs enrollment for each school by 5% annually. And this one here just kind of, this graph just shows degrees that were awarded at the college. And this particular data is helpful in tracking changes in growth in bachelor degree programs. And this is how we're going to monitor as we move forward. The next slide. And this slide here is another capture and showing the overall student enrollment interest. And so this is something we're really looking at, and we want to look more at that as we move forward. So I'll go ahead and switch it over to VP Husky, and then I'll come back up for the next call.
Bennett, Shagolita Husky Shadow, Vice President of Student Affairs, Shanana Shadane College, Dolga, Brad Hanoyanigi, Shachana Notini, Ina Tsaile, Bethany Lishigi, Dobande Lishigo, Tinatani, Forget. Chicago Hashnet Dolehige, Halit, Kikudo, immediate Shanala enrollment in Mahasnagi, student service, it's A. Bedkina, that's it, Doleh. So in student services, we are in correlation with the enrollment growth that Dr. Garrity has provided. So here at Dene College, it's just not about students going to school. It's about students having a life on our campus as well. So with that said, I just want to share that for the year of 2017-18, these were our primary initiatives and our focus areas for student services. So one of the things that we try to do in student services is exercise the guiding principles of So our programs are designed to reflect those domains of our guiding principles. The first one is student enrollment management. Under student enrollment management is what we say it gives access to our students into the college institution. Secondly, in response to the We have the student advising and retention domain. That is talking about how, when a student comes here, now that they entered our institution, how do we keep them here semester to semester, day to day, week to week, so that they don't fall behind or they don't drop out or we don't lose them in the process, but to keep them engaged. The third element of ENA is the capacity, is the student career advisement, or career advancement. A&M, we just don't come here for school. We also have to learn work skills. We also have to learn how to function as an individual among our society and our communities. So that's what that component focuses on. The fourth one, MC Hassan, is about the support. You got into college, we're keeping you here, we're helping you to live day to day. We're teaching you work skills, we're teaching you leadership. Now, along the way, life happens. How do we support you? And in that domain is the student life and leadership. So with those, I just want to quickly, briefly, and indicate what the programs are. Under the student enrollment management, in 2017-18, we went and implemented the online registration. We reported that 5% of our students have used it for the fall and spring semester. We've also implemented the online transcript requests. We also have a 5% of our student population. This is just not Tsaile, it's across all the campuses. We have 5% of our student population using the online transcript requests. Online admission process, we've implemented that. For the current semester, we show that 38% of our student population submitted their admission application through this process. We've also are in the process of maintaining our registrar website. This is to say, if you were not here already, you went onto Tsaile College's website, you would see what your application requirements are, what kind of programs we have. So those are ongoing for us to maintain and be out there about what Tsaile College is all about. We also centralize and streamline our student records. So far, 80% of our student records are here at Tsaile. We're still working with Community Campus to start forwarding those student information. We've also implemented a program called Net Partner. So it means that just like if you went to NAU, you don't have to go over there and sign your financial aid in front of the financial aid director. You can do this online electronically. In the domain of student advising and retention, we also have implemented pop-up advising, and we do this 2 times a month after early registration starts. We've also completed our advising handbook, and it's ready for our review and approval. We've also done and planned and delivered the summer pre-college program. In the past, the Summer Institute program used to be 1 week long, 2 weeks long. This summer, we took the entire 16 weeks of the summer to start a pre-college program. We had 14 participants. We had 99% retention. One person decided to go to the military, but you know what? We boost his military test scores, his ASVAB scores, by coming through pre-college. So we still played an asset in some manner. We've also increased our student learning workshops. We do this 1 to 2 times a month. We've also revamped our new student orientation. Under the career advancement program, we now have a peer mentor handbook. We have 6 peer mentors on board every semester. These peer mentors are in their juniors and senior years who are turning around and helping the freshman students and anyone else on campus. So students, if you don't know about the peer mentor program, come seek us out. We can support you. We're also having conversational workshops. This workshop used to be called Coffee and Combo. But because we keep hearing from the Board of Regents, where's the Navajo element? We changed it to Java and Jane. So we talk about Jane there, but the good Jane. And then we've also used emergency aid support. This is a funding from the Great Lakes organization with Project Success. Over the course of 3 years, we got $60,000. So far we've awarded $90,000 emergency aid funds in the amount of $50 to $400. So all in total, we have awarded so far 21,000 support funds to our students to help them with childcare, transportation, medical care. We've also increased our student internship program, Title III and Project Success joint forces. Under Title III, we have 7 interns per semester. Under Project Success, we have 16 interns. Some of you are hosting some of the interns that we have. Thank you. Students, there's employment opportunities out there for you. Seek it out. We've also piloted our high school bridge program this past summer, and we did it in 2 sessions, 1 week each. And each of them, we had a 100% completion rate. Every student who entered the program finished the program successfully. The last domain is our student life and leadership. We're now in the phase of implementing a business center at our student family housing. We've done the planning, the layouts are all done. We're ordering our equipment. Now we just need to get it started. We've also revamped our athletic handbook. Athletic students are now required to follow a rigorous schedule and a criteria before they participate in the athletic programs. We've also revisited the roles and responsibilities of our coaches. So these coaches are just not only here during practice times or participation times, but they're here now to engage and help with the tutoring sessions and so forth. We've also increased our student advocacy efforts, and we're now supporting student leadership and participation. All in all, this falls under 2 of our strategic plans, our strategic goals, which is number 2, student success, promoting student success and development. So we're taking a large initiative on student career readiness and student leadership. The second goal that we are addressing is the technology. We're improving the information technology to enhance our student learning experiences. And you saw that through the online registration, online transcript requests, the net partners from financial aid. That's what we've been doing. We appreciate all of your participation. We appreciate you being part of us. Thank you for being part of Tsaile College.
Hello again. I am Marie Nez, Vice President of External Affairs. Next slide. So this is student life cycle. We bring students in using marketing and recruiters to recruit students for us. So we look for future students. We create interest, and hopefully they're moving towards us. And then when they do come to Tsaile College, they're a commencing student, they're coming in. And then they transition through. At some point, they become continuing students. And then finally, when they can complete the program here, or they can move up, because we still offer AA degree programs, and in some cases they move on to bachelor's degree programs, so they either move out or move up. But the External Affairs Department are heavily involved in recruiting future students and working with graduates and alumni. And so the marketing team are working with the academics department. We need to know what their plan is. And so we're creating a closer relationship, and we have been working with them. How do we help them? Because Dr. Garrity said, I am going to increase 5% in degree programs. And so what does that mean? How do we need to market those degree programs so that we can increase that enrollment? And by working together, we'll make it happen and meet the quotas there. And then also working with the student affairs, student services. We need to know as much as they do. our recruiters have to be just as knowledgeable, anybody that is in student services, so that when they're being asked the questions out there, that they know and how to share that information and have some answers to those students. And so we're getting tighter and tighter in the way that we are working together, and we're no longer going to be working in silos, because one information from another department is really important for us to know. And so that is promoting engagement, using communication. So it goes back to communication, marketing, and communication. Whatever the student services department, the academic services, whatever they do. And then other programs that I oversee, so I'm going to come down to continuing students, how my department, how I see them interacting with the continuing student is through the Institutional Grants Office. Through that department, their job is to receive grant proposals and help through that process, so that the institution, as you heard from Bo Lewis, VP of Finance, how much money we receive, and how much money the college receives in grants funding. And so many of those grants funding offer research support. And oftentimes, through that, there are student internships, student research. So all of those are benefiting the students here. And then the museum, we have that so that the students can also use that as resource. Dene Policy Institute is another department that I oversee, and they're more closely working with the nation building. And then so finally back to the alumni relations, we have an alumni relations specialist. We have over 60,000 names of past students that have come through Dene College, and we still don't have all of them. So our alumni relations specialist is going out after these people, updating their information. Again, the goal of the institution is to better the financial health of this institution. And so we're looking to those donors, alumni, and by now many of them have jobs, and we're going to continue to make that education awareness to incoming students as well. And so next slide. So we talk about enrollment a lot, and this kind of lens, when you come to full circle, the financial health of the institution. And so again, we're looking at the 5%. It's part of our Dene College Navajo Nation goal, our strategic goal. And so we have a percentage to work with. We have some baseline data so that we use that number. And so in order to bring in students, and I talk about the recruitment, that's kind of like the beginning process of the whole entire student life cycle here at Dene College. Creating the reputation for this institution, we have to do a lot of work, and students, we rely on you to through the word of mouth, share with your family what a great place to learn your identity, your culture, and then also to obtain a job by getting a degree. So we're using digital marketing and the traditional marketing to provide information out there to students. And then finally, when they come through, you saw the other slide where there's a funnel that happens. Some of them actually come through. We just recruit a whole bunch of people, but it comes down to the student choosing this institution when they become our customer. And I think our biggest selling point, our reputation, is that we say we are tribal college, we're a religious fundamental institution, we're unique in that way under that status. And so selling that, and a lot of people are coming back and telling us, this is where I want to be. And so that is our charge to do increase enrollment, and we're working with everybody. Next slide. So looking forward, We have the marketing, recruitment, and public relations. Our goal for the next 5 years, Valdina mentioned that this is a goal that they have to stick with for the next 4 years. We completed 1 year, and they selected institutional transformation to promote effective communication and accountability. And so around that, we create objectives, and then we look at the outcomes. And instead of just telling people what we're going to do and what we have done, and this is what we did, we're going to turn to numbers, and we're going to start meeting those benchmarks. And so we're looking at the number of visits to the website, the Facebook likes and shares, and if this is in correlation with the increased enrollment using the digital and the traditional marketing tool. And one of the things that we're looking at as a way of advertising is working with the KOB TV, and we've been meeting with them. So there's a lot of plans that are coming up for this coming year, and we're going to use all sorts of marketing tools to increase enrollment. But again, I come back to working with other VPs so that we know what we're marketing out there, and then helping each other to reach that goal. So next slide. And 2 of the departments that I oversee have selected financial health. That is the alumni, and then also the institutional grants. They're looking at strengthening financial health and self-reliance, and we hope to continue to grow the funding we get from federal grants, and then also making sure that we are doing it right. It's important. And again, this financial health of the institution, we have to explain that also in the HLC accreditation. So you have to be an accredited institution to also apply for the federal grants as well. So they're all interconnected, and we see that. And so the Institutional Grants Office is a big support to this institution to help us achieve that. And then as far as outcome moving forward, we're looking at the numbers, tracking the number of grants proposals submitted and awards. And I'm having my directors set their own benchmarks and quotas, and that's what we're going to be tracking. And that's going to be more meaningful than just, saying, oh, okay, we got this amount, but how is it actually happening, and keeping everybody informed of how we got there and if we meet our benchmarks. Also related to this is we're going to continue to work on the procedures for the grants policies that were approved by the board already. The procedures are not developed in all areas, and so we're going to keep counting. Okay, ideal, how many of these procedure sections will you accomplish this year? Set that as your benchmark, and then let's see how we do by the end of the year. And then also completing the implementation of the grants software. We had limited resources to capture that information. Oftentimes we're asked, okay, how much what is the process for the grants, and how much are going through the process, how many of them are awarded, how much was brought in, which one has the student research component, a lot of information that we need to store and capture in this database, and it would be easier just to extract that information. So that is one of the goals. Next slide. Diné Policy Institute, that is their goal is to cultivate the Diné nation building, and that's also the institution's goal, and then we always include that in the Navajo Nation goal as well. In this case, we have been doing a lot of different activities in this department. This is not really increasing, but really limiting the number of studies to really ensure that quality research studies are done, that we're just not collecting survey just for the sake of collecting survey, but it has to mean something, and sharing it with the either our government or our partners and wishing to conduct studies. So that is their goal, and then increasing that working relationship with the tribal council and other people that are an important part of this whole entire initiative to, I guess, position the Navajo Nation economically in a better position. Next slide. So finally, we have the museum, and again here, this is the only department that kind of goes to the goal Dene identity, that is to advance the institution's Dene identity. And moving forward, we're going to be looking at the number of collections for students and really make this a resource place for students. Let's say, for an example, there are artifacts about the Jish, and because we're starting the Navajo Medicine Man apprenticeship, there's some meetings that are happening. What does it mean? Where does it need to be stored? What about things that family members want to give up? What do we do with those? Sometimes they look to the Dene College and say, I'm just going to turn this over. What about some of the recordings? And then our students coming through the system, if they're interested and want to do research about it, where do they find information about that? We don't have any, but I think it's a beginning process that we begin to create that collection and some information, collecting information about certain artifacts so that students can do their own research as well. It will be a resource for the whole entire college here. And then also increasing the number of visits to the museum. How do we reach out to the K-12? What kind of resources do we provide? A learning environment, creating that learning environment. And so these are some of the numbers that we will be collecting and then going forward. Next slide. The alumni relation, I mentioned this is kind of like at the end. This is the other unit that selected financial health, strengthening the financial health. And so their outcomes moving forward is to complete updating 1,000 or more for this year for the alumni profile update. I know there's a lot. It's hard to really track down all of the students that are in that batch. And then also completing the alumni publication. Meeting has been happening with the person that works with UNM, that does the publisher, that's the publisher for the, or the editor actually, for the UNM alumni magazine. And so there are things happening moving forward. And also, just in closing, thank you for being here with us. And then we continue to be that support group, that support department to the institution, as well as really interacting with the academic and student services. Before I end this, I would like to also remind everybody in your packet that there is a survey. Please complete those. It gives us information about how well we do and where we need to improve. Complete them, and then there's a table back there where